What is going on YouTube? Portal Cards here, and today we have another part to Mom Card Mondays. So we get three different types here. I'm going to be going through and showing you the process I go through of removing them from the sleeves without damaging the cards, um, and get them transferred into some new pages. And that way you guys can see what the before pages and the after pages look like. Um, So right now they are in Ultra Pro Platinum sleeves, and you'll see the difference throughout the series of how much nicer these Ultra Pros are than other pages, and the quality between the different finishes on the cards. So we have three different types of cards here today, and these ones here are like a foil card. These are just glossy, and these are like a standard card stock. So you'll get to see how the different finishes are with the different types of sleeves. But first off, we have Unity, which is from the early 90s. Nice little comic action. And there is the back of those. As you can see, some of these pages got pretty ratty throughout the years, between stuff getting spilled on them possibly. Not sure what happened to them, but that's why we're here today, is to continue this series and continue getting all of these cards preserved. So the first thing I go about is make sure the page still flex a little bit, and make sure nothing's gonna get stuck in there. So I like to start with the top. See, that one slides out fairly well, so set that flat. The next one's sliding out well. Let's go for 3 for 3. There we go. I could tell that one had a little bit of resistance in there, but it did come out great. The reason why I have this is what I do if these are sticking is you can slide it down behind it and kind of shim it in there to free it up, and they will slide out right with it. And depending on what type of finish it has on either side, you can also do it with the front face of it. Just shim it in there, and they ought to slide out together depending on what type of finish you have on there. But these should slide out of there all right. So this one, it does stick on the face a little bit. So get that under there without touching the corner of the card. I'm not sure if you guys could hear that peel up there, relieving that tension. It does still have some on the back. And then it'll pull out right with it. And then here we got just 2 at the bottom. There's 1. And last one. It's going to be sticking on the face a little bit. Alright, so we'll get that one down there. You can see the color on it, and we'll get a new sleeve right next to it, and you'll see the true color difference of these. So there's with the old one behind it, and you slide that out of the way. Look at the color difference of those. But this is what we're getting rid of here, and moving them into some new sleeves. And Some of these Unity cards should be in fairly decent order. So we have a 25. This should be a 23 or 27. We're going backwards the other direction. 22, 23, and 24. So looking all these cards over front and back to check the quality of the card before I get putting them in new sleeves to see if anything needs cleaned off, which all of those look fairly good. So we'll get the orientation correct here. So this first row will go right in there. And I like to work from the spine over toward the outer edge. Make it a little more rigid as you're working your way over across the page, and make sure everything's not flopping. Because out of some of the ones that I've seen pulled out of there, there were like a couple center cards or a upper spine missing, and a lot of those were damaged just with those cards missing because the page flexes a lot more. So this is the process I go through of transferring all of these, just making sure everything's in great condition. The page that it was in previously, you can see that the bottom left corner of both of these bottom ones have some blowouts of the cardstock to where you can see the white. So hopefully putting them in the new page sleeves here will make a lot better difference, and putting them in brand new binders. A lot of these were not in binders, they were just laying inside of a box for at least a decade, and hopefully we can get a remedy to that and square all of these away. So I don't want to bore you too much on getting too in depth with the process. We'll go through some of these here, and you can see the different types of cards, and I'll show you front and back, and they have like a little story with each one. So these Unity were a 1992 Voyager print. So some really interesting characters in these, and great card art. But I will be going through and removing all of these and transferring them. Yeah, look at the quality of that sleeve there. But not too sure on the basis of these cards. If they had a follow-up of any other series, I will have to look more into those and find out more information on these. But as you go through, you can see there's quite a few characters that are going to be on a lot of these cards. And if you have been following the series, you'll see some of these are missing. A lot of them were removed from sleeves, and um, it should have been last Monday. I went through and did a variety of several cards so that you guys can see what to be looking forward to in the series. And all of those cards were just loose cards within the collection that will be getting put back into these sleeves with them. I just want to go through a quick process and show you guys how I do this and the reason why I do it. So, as a lot of you may know, if you follow the series, these were a lot of cards that I collected with my mother growing up, and a lot of them were hers. Just several different series that she collected. And, you know, the big thing here is making sure everything gets preserved a little better than it was here. That way we can have it later on, pass it down to my children, and build a collection with them as well. And yeah, so this is kind of a personal thing for me, and just going through everything with my childhood of what we collected. And not sure if you guys can really see, but there is a nice foil, almost hologram on a lot of these cards. And then there's the back of these Silver Surfers. So this is number 13 to 22. And then we will go take some of these out and start putting these into sleeves. And you guys can see how these different foil finishes react with the Ultra Pro sleeves as well. So some of them will not be in Ultra Pro sleeves throughout the series, and you'll see how the different sleeves hold up with different cards. But it's simple as that. You don't even have to touch the face card. You just slide that in behind it, and it'll come out with it. So really great art on these. And these are a 1992 Marvel product. So let's lift this page up, get that backwards there, and continue with these pages. So that one does have a little bit of sticking on the face. Slide that down in front of it. Go back to the bottom of it, and it slides out right on top of it. And then we'll put that face down. It does have a little bit of a blowout in the center there. Not sure where that came from, but we'll try and do our best to make sure none of that happens when we are removing these. So once again, just slide it in there. You may be able to hear this too. So that one's sticking on the face a little bit. Go in there, relieve some of that surface tension. And right to the back. It slides out right with it. Very simple. And like I went on before, always try and save those spines for last. That way you have a little bit of a rigid base to work everything off of. If you do start with the inside ones, the page tends to flop around a little bit and makes it more prone to damage them. But always give yourself enough to be able to grab the top of your releasing card. And other than card stands, now you guys know another use for these. If you're ever trying to do this, even with brand new cards, works in the same manner. And you don't have to touch that front card at all until it's ready to come out on its own. So all of those look pretty good on the back. There was just that Hulk card that had a little bit of blowout in the bottom center, but there's that page. That one wasn't too bad. There's a little bit in the bottom right corner here. You can see where it kind of pulled up around that card. But other than that, that page was not bad at all. So we'll grab a new page and start getting some of these in there. We will start with number 22, Submariner here. Which not sure why he looks like he's in the sky. Maybe they're trying to make those bubbles. Not sure on that one. But there is Silver Surfer himself. And again. So pretty simple to fit the rest of those in there. Little Doctor Strange there. And when you're putting these in there, depending on what type of page you have, there will be a lip right there that you'll have to clear. You can see where the lines end, and you'll have a little gap there to be able to start a card with. So get right up the line here to Nova. So you just fold the leading edge down and it'll give you access to that slot. So you get Doctor Doom in here. There's the Hulk. Followed by Demon. And Presence of Silver Surfer. So really nice art on these, especially with that foil hologram going on. Really nice stuff. And then following behind that, you got another stack of Silver Surfer here. Really like that card there. But once again, you can see the quality that some of these sleeves are in, and the reason why I'm taking them out of these to help preserve them a little bit. But But I do believe if they were not in these Ultra Pro sleeves, then they would not be close to the condition they're in now as far as the sticking inside of the pages goes. They really release easily. And then these bottom ones are some of my favorites. It's a little continuation off of the other page. And they each have like a little blurb on the back to give you a background of what the scene is depicting within the comic series. That's another great one there. So do feel free. Hopefully these are all in focus as I'm going through, and you can pause the video if you want to catch up on some of the art or the stories behind them on the back of the card. These ones here are actually from Unity. They got mixed in with those. But like I said, these were just thrown all about in a box, and I'm glad that they are in the condition they are for how they were stored for so many years. So that wraps up the Silver Surfer and Unity. And next up we have the Ninja Turtle series, which is what I collected as a child. So starting off here, each one has its own little event, if you will. That corresponds with a certain episode. And like I was saying, these here are like a basic card stock, almost like if you're familiar with other sport cards, the O-Pee-Chee line that has almost that cereal box kind of cardboard feel to them. So I will release a couple of these and show you how they act. Not sure if you can hear the texture of those cards, but it's a very coarse fiber on there of the cardboard. And these ones might take a little bit extra to get them out of here, being that type of card stock. There were a few before I figured out this trick that I had to tear the sleeve apart to get them out without damaging the card. But there's the quality it comes out in. So these are photographs from the movie. So yeah, you can tell just by the colored fibers within the cardboard there of what type of cardstock it is. So these here I will not immediately put back into a sleeve in a page. I do want to go through and sort these a little better. They did get out of order. So I will just be removing these Ninja Turtles cards and sorting these off camera. The video is starting to get a little bit long, which I don't mind. I just like to show you guys the quality of these cards. If you do properly remove them, like even the color on these is still so crisp for having that type of card stock. Like I will put that up against this Kid Reporter here, and the color is still fantastic for a card that's 30 years old. So you just have to have some patience and you know, get a feel for how each type of cardstock is going to react with whatever type of pages you have, and get a feel for every single one and know how they're going to react coming out. Even if you see there is a card that has slight damage to it and you know it's not going to come out very well, use that as a practice one to start. So just take a scan over each one and use that as a sample. If it's already going to have some damage to it, that way you know you're not going to damage a card that could come out pristine. I don't expect any of these to be near mint or pristine, but would like to have them come out as close to possible as near mint. I mean, you can see right on this one, on that leading edge, if it wants to focus, yeah, right there. So that cardstock is kind of blowing out a little bit. Appears to be bubbled from moisture. So cards like that are something you can use as a card to get a feel for how everything's going to react whenever you try and remove them. But all in all, I didn't have any high hopes for these coming out of the sleeves as well as they are, with just the type of cardstock that they are. And you know, whenever you're removing these cards come in handy, because like on a Mohs scale, the hardness, it's going to be right down there with the cardstock that you're removing, so it's not going to leave marks on there like a plastic card, or they actually have tools that some of these companies use to remove them, and they are harder than the cardstock, so they are prone to damaging the surface. But some of these, you'll find it takes a couple tries to even get them moving. But once you get them moving, just catch it on the run and keep going with it. So there's the condition of that page, so you can kind of scope how yours may react if you're in the same situation. All in all, not bad. They did get a little bit of, I can't say cloudy as far as the material goes, but the surface has some wear to it, which gives it a cloudiness. So that is how I go about doing those. And I will get these stacked up and sort them off camera. And these ones here have to take extra care with them, being the type of cardstock that it is. Even between your temperature changes and everything, you're going to have that little bit of moisture that could damage those cards a lot. So continuing on with the rest of these, we got the nickname card there for Michelangelo, Mikey. So these cards are still in great condition compared to what they could have been. So I am thankful for that. They were in a box with a ton of other pages and put up into a closet for quite some time. Some of them did go to a storage unit and made it back. Some of them did not make it back. But yeah, glad to have the childhood memories back with these. And right now I'm pretty much just in a couple sports as far as collecting. But I do believe that as my child grows up, depending what they are into, getting back into something like this, that way they have something to carry on as well that they enjoyed. So as you'll see on here, a lot of these, they're from the Secret Ooze, but each scene, it will continue on another card. So you'll have to, once these are all in order, just go through and figure out what that storyline is. And then as you've seen throughout these, there are some here that have images that will become almost like a puzzle. But yeah, these cards are something I really enjoyed as a child going through. And I'm glad that they are in the condition they are now to continue preserving them. The color is still so bold on these. But that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys got a little bit of insight on what you can expect if you plan on storing cards for a long time, or if you're doing the same thing, storing them to pass them on to your children. And if you're building a collection with them, what to look forward to, the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, and get you a heads up on the game, and just make sure everything's in great condition for them. That's all I have for you guys today, and be sure to like and subscribe if you have not already, and continue following the series. And as always, take care.